This dog has one of the funny...
Hi everyone, welcome to another video about awareness, about consciousness. In this video I want to talk a bit. When we are on the journey to higher consciousness, higher awareness, we often come across deepening, which is called the darkness. We come across challenges in our personal relationships. And what I want to say about that is the ego is based in fear, all right? What we are all secretly seeking, every single one of us, let me adjust the camera a little bit. What we are all secretly, deeply seeking is true love. So it is outrageous to me that there are people online and offline that don't believe in love, while it is the main thing everyone is searching for. Unconditional love. I even heard people say unconditional love doesn't exist. Everything is conditional in the 3D realm. To the people that are stuck in believing that love isn't real, you are creating that paradigm in your world. So for example, there's a war going on between males and females. Everyone feels taken advantage of. Everyone blames the other opposite. All men are cheaters. All women are cheaters. Women just want your money. Men just want to have sex with you. That's all they want, right? It's a transactional world. Down in the depths of those layers of consciousness, we have the transactional dynamic of user and abuser, victim and abuser consciousness, and they interchange because abusers become victims and victims become abusers because they are two sides of the same coin. So whenever you hear about the labels, about empaths and narcissists, etc., you are stuck in the paradigm, the illusion of the 2D, second dimensional reality on my scale of consciousness that I've shared. If you are stuck in 2D, you believe everything is transactional, and behold, you will only create people in your reality that will confirm your worldview. So when you say, for example, all females are cheaters, you will be attracted to females who are cheaters. Unless you've awakened and you are aware that you don't have to stay in certain paradigms and loops. What I came to realize is the conflict between women and men is very sacred in nature. It is highlighting the split in consciousness, in awareness, the egoic delusion that we call me, I feel, I think. There's this false identity running the show. This false identity needs to be constantly defended, validated, and if it's not validated, there will be an outrage. Rage will be created. In a deep relationship, some people can't go deep into a relationship because they are emotionally unavailable. What that means is that you haven't done inner work, you haven't faced your own emotions. And it's not just talking about what happened in your childhood, that talk therapy. It's not that. It's feeling and facing your darkest, deepest fears head on. Going there, confronting it, jump towards the fear. That's the only way you can get through the fear, by confronting it head on. So when you go into the fear, always what happens, and I'm talking from experience, when you go into the fear, you realize, what? Was that it? There's nothing. And it was all an illusion. Time and time again, constantly, the same thing happens over again. The anticipation of going to the fear is more painful than actually feeling the fear. You can do inner work. You can just sit 3 hours with one pain point you have in your life, one emotion coming up, and you just sit with it for 3 hours one day, and that will save you 50 years of recreating the same patterns. But we are so afraid to sit with ourselves for a moment that this pattern will recreate your whole reality time and time again, and then you think there's something wrong with you. You're just broken. No, you're not. You just haven't faced yourself yet. And what relationships challenge us to do is, where do we have limiting beliefs that this world is transactional? Where do we have limiting beliefs about people around us? Do we think negatively about people around us? If yes, then you will attract those negative people around you, because everything and anything in creation exists. You get to make up the rules. So when you believe people are bad and greedy, you will attract greedy people in your life, and you will become greedy yourself. That's just the law of how it works. If you believe people are users and you will defend yourself against them, you become a user. That's the cosmic joke that's playing here. And I want to tell you that if people in the 2D paradigm that keep using and abusing each other, and they are never happy, they never feel loved for who they are. They feel used for the resources or what they can give you, but they never feel seen for who they are. And that authentic self always wants to be seen and expressed and loved. That's all humans want. There's nothing else. I'm telling you. They just want to be seen and loved for who they are. But you are already seen and loved by your divine self, which is all that is. You already have all the validation. But that's besides the point I want to make. When you go into the paradigms of transactional living, you are stuck in a 2D, 3D paradigm. You start to notice that people come across you that try to tell you things about how life works. They tell you, okay, men cannot be trusted, be careful with this. Women cannot be trusted, be careful with this. In business, for example, these people cannot be trusted, don't go to this company, XYZ. It's all subscription-based. If you decide to go the route of not trusting life, not trusting your partner, not trusting people, not having faith in people, you will create situations for yourself that confirm that people cannot be trusted, even when the people are completely trustworthy. And I've been on the other end of this, people saying me, thinking I'm evil. And then I thought, I know what it's like to be unseen for the love I'm trying to give. But for the people in the 2D, the love you're giving is seen as a threat, as manipulation, as strings attached, because that's how they are. that's how they are. So if you become entrenched in a paradigm where you are transactional, you just want to use people for their resources, for their money, for their labor, for their even just to get validation for your victimhood, get the louche from them. This creates a kind of guilt in yourself and a shame, because you know you've been looking at those people in a very low devalue way. You are not seeing them as a soul, as a source, as a divine being. You are seeing them as a monster, as a demon, which makes you feel ashamed and guilty and bad, which in turn makes you act exactly like you project onto those people. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and a cycle. What I want to let you know is that unconditional love is real. As a matter of fact, unconditional love is the only thing that's actually real. All the stuff in the lower dimensions is an absolute illusion. The transactional things are just a cry for the search for unconditional love. I want to let you know that the unconditional love you're seeking in another person is already within you. It has always been, that love always has been available for you. Also, when you go out in the world and you are in a lower dimension, that means you are in survival mode. Survival mode means victim mode. Not knowing your true nature is torture, it's hell. So out of survival mode, you think you have to manipulate others in order to get your needs met, and then you lower your value. Your soul knows when you are lowering your value because you subscribe to survival mode and manipulation tactics. Your soul knows, and it doesn't feel good. Why doesn't it feel good? The not feeling good is because when you subscribe to fear and to victim consciousness, to survival mode, you are in direct opposition of the truth. And the only truth there is unconditional love. So it blows my mind that in those paradigms that people can twist the truth so much that they can convince you that love is not real, while unconditional love is quite literally the fabric of existence itself. Everything is born out of love. Even wanting to survive is born out of love. The love for being alive and wanting to survive, to spread your knowledge, to spread your information. That's an act of love. So even the deepest, darkest people that just want to survive and do horrible things are acting out of love. And if you go higher in perspective, in higher dimensions, you will see things for what they are. It's unconditional love. And in the 3D, you are challenged to see the opposite. The way consciousness expands is to observe its direct opposite. Observe the opposite, and then you remember who you are. That's the trick. The reason why so many bad things happen, quote unquote bad things happen, is because the bad things are placed here in order to provide contrast. Without the contrast, you can never see the pure love that you are. So let's get back to relationships. Relationships are such a sought after game in the experience of the human life game that many souls, many players opt into creating relationships, personal intimate relationships. This game is so valuable because it's one of the greatest catalysts in your evolution of consciousness, in your level of awareness. Don't see relationships as a thing to make you happy. Happiness is inherent in just existing. You have value and worth just because you exist. You are pure joy, happiness just because you exist. So let's get that out of the way. When you have an ego, a void, an empty void inside yourself, people often say you have to get into therapy to fill the void or to heal your wounds, right? In order to heal the empty void inside of you, you have to face all the bad programming that has been conditioned into you since childhood. That's the game we're playing. This wounding is what provides the depth of the human experience. This is what it's all about. It's not how many toys you acquire in this game. It's not how much stuff you gather or how much status or you look. It is purely how much are you able to transmute in love. Are you a powerful alchemist, or will you fail and go into bitterness and anger? Because it's very easy to go into bitterness and anger and victimhood. It's ridiculously easy to blame shift and blame the world for your suffering. But that's a trap and you'll stay stuck. So being accountable and being responsible, meaning having the ability to respond to whatever happens to you, is your power. And if so many ridiculously contrasting things happen in your world that you just think, wow, this is not even real. That happened to me multiple times. This could be a movie. Something interesting happens because I have had those moments where I had a breakthrough. I saw the opposite of love everywhere. I saw pure despair, panic, paranoia. Literally like from a movie scene. I kid you not. And then I just started to become quiet and I knew this is not real. And then everything shifted, everything became love. Because I remembered the contrast that I'm seeing right now is the opposite of my true nature. And with me, I mean every single one of us. That's why you can detach from the 3D and become naturally non-reactive. You become naturally non-reactive to the 3D circumstances once you know that everything is born out of infinite intelligence, infinite love, which is the essence of who you are. You are made of it. You are quite literally it, an expression of it. And once that higher awareness comes in, life may throw you some other contrasting experiences. But you just see through it. It's just an illusion. And it doesn't even affect you anymore. And in face of the most challenging things, you can see, I'm unharmed. No one can ever take who I am away. No one can ever take my purity, my power, my love away, because it's infinite and it's never ending and it's abundant. It's untouchable. I am untouchable. And when you really embody this, there's this calm that comes over you. No one, whatever anyone says, can touch you anymore because you're not identified with that pain body, with that ego. No circumstance can take you away from this inner knowing. No opinion can sway you from knowing yourself. That you are everything. That you are infinite. And that it doesn't matter what it looks like. Because what the 3D, what everything looks like, is not what it seems. It is never what it seems. There is love underlying everything. There is always love underlying everything. Everyone is naturally going towards being whole. Everything in nature is towards growth and healing. It's just who you are. We have gained a mind so we can challenge nature. And we are free to do that. But it hurts. When we go against our nature and we believe the distorted lies that love isn't real, that everything is conditional and transactional, we are being fooled. Because this is all fear talking, and the ego is separation consciousness. And what you fear the most in an intimate relationship, what you fear the most is being loved for who you are. So you are not able to receive being loved for who you are. Because if you are loved for who you are, authentically, completely, as you are, the ego is out of a job and will cease to exist. And that results in ego death. Many don't get to this realization in romantic relationships because they're too scared to open up. You are afraid to be loved for who you are. Why? Because you have not completely loved yourself for who you are yet. And you have still identified yourself with the world of transaction. No one in their core is really interested in the things. Everyone is interested in feeling that love. That amount of love will make you drop any cool toy that the earth gives you. That true feeling of being untouchable, so strong in your true self, will make you drop all your egoic desires all at once. There's no greater bliss and joy than discovering this. So once you had even a small taste of this, you will cease to be interested in accumulating all the egoic props. Because you know all the things that you accumulate, put on yourself, put on your body, enhance, change, do not make you more. And you also realize that nothing can be taken away from you because you're whole and complete. And when you have that realization in a romantic relationship, because you will soon realize that all the things you get externally, including the romantic relationship, will turn into pain because you, for example, fear losing the person, or you fear that the person cheats, or you fear that the person betrays you. It will turn into pain really quickly. It will turn into demands, egoic demands that you can never keep up with. Why? Because the ego expects the other person to make them happy. The ego gives away power because it's a fear entity. The way to turn that around is knowing you are not the ego. Knowing you can disidentify from the patterns. If there's a true connection with the true intention of sharing your life with someone that you care about, for the sake of sharing more joy, more love, enhancing your human experience, for the sake of creating more growth and awareness, this relationship could be your golden opportunity to detach more from the illusion, to transmute your fears very quickly. The ego will fight. It will fight so hard for you to not discover that everything is born out of unconditional love. It will fight very hard for you to stop discovering it. So it will do all these mind tricks on you that you really can't trust the person. It's conditional. Look, it's transactional. You're using each other. Look how bad he is or she is. You see, she's just like the others. He is just like the others. They're all cheaters. You can never trust them. They are not capable of love the way you are. All these limiting beliefs. You see that they are incapable, they are worthless. You see, people treat their partners so bad. They judge their partners so bad. Why? Because if you judge yourself harshly, you will project that immediately onto the person that's closest to you. And this is the sad truth. We treat our partners the worst because they get closest to us and they see face to face with our demons. So we hurt the ones we love the most. That's why betrayal comes from the ones we love. Because we have access to their inner world more. So we have access to the contrast more. But when you know this partner of yours is an energetic match, no more, no less, you can learn so much. You can take advantage of the opportunity to expand your consciousness even more and become more untouched by the illusion. If you analyze the behavior in relationships, you see, okay, this person has an emotionally cold mother. That's why he shuts you down, dismisses you, and he expects you to be like that. And then he expects you to be cold and withdrawn, and then he gets attracted to prove his worth to you, to please you. You have all these different patterns that come up. If you have an absent father, for example, you will never feel safe and you will try to find security in a man. But you'll never find security in a man because it's just a pattern. And the only security there is you trusting that life will bring you whatever you need. And it's all pre-orchestrated. And your mother and father are actually life itself. And you're always provided for. It's not in the hands of the mirrors. It's you. You're all that is. So once you embody that, and you have to go through the feelings and the programs in order to fully complete the cycle, you said, okay, I believed I couldn't trust people like this, or I couldn't trust people in general, because people are like X, Y, and Z. People have a low awareness, higher awareness. Every type of person exists. When you believe that the person you are with is not trustworthy, you lack trust in your true self, your divine self. And that's where all suffering comes from. Your life will drastically improve once you start trusting in your divine self over your false self. Your true self always has your back, even if you are completely in illusion and ego. Your true self will make sure you are okay. Your true self will never abandon you. Your true self is your mother and father, your true mother and father, not your matrix mother and father. We can see glimpses of the divine mother and father in others, but we have them all within us. Once you know that you are always provided for, life is benevolent and it's a loving creation, you will naturally start to encounter contrast of where it isn't the case, because you are being cleaned out. It's like you have activated a cleaning program, and all the things that you don't need have to come to the surface, and you have to feel through them in order to prove to yourself that it is not true. So when things happen to you that are difficult, you go in them, you observe, and you can see for yourself how it was all an illusion. And that's the biggest gift. Because someone can tell you from the outside, yeah, it's all an illusion, but it doesn't become real unless you embody that. And it's what inner work is all about. You've created every single circumstance, every person, everything in your life as an energetic match. You even created this video as an energetic match in your reality. And everything comes right in time. Perfect timing, always. Not too soon, not too late. Perfect timing. So once you have faith in your divine self that orchestrates everything, you will surrender. And with you, I mean the small you, the false self. The ego will surrender. Because the ego is just a scared, programmed, conditioned little child that's stuck inside your body. That's the inner child that's stuck, waiting to be rescued. And here's the rescue, here's the savior. The savior is you. The savior is your divine self talking to you, telling you everything is okay. You are already safe. You are already whole, complete, and worthy. Because you are me. Get it? So then when you step into a relationship, you cannot be manipulated. You cannot be scared. You cannot be taken advantage of, because you are an abundant source of wisdom and love that cannot be touched. Only if you have an ego you can be taken advantage of. Only an ego gets into conflict. Only fear creates the illusion that there's something to be taken. Once you go beyond a certain barrier, you cannot be triggered anymore, because you have kind of like a shield, a frequency protection around you. This shield is what makes you discern truth from falsehood. This shield is your protection. This shield is the truth. So your number one priority is the truth. And this truth is as simple as I can make it. It's your everything, your infinite intelligence, your pure love, and that's unconditional. And actually, all of this projection is taking place inside your consciousness. You are everything. This is your world. And it doesn't matter what happens, because you are it. And you embrace all the emotions that tell you the opposite. So the emotions will be there for a contrast experience. And then you snap out of it again. And then you remember again. And the more you snap out of it and transmute those emotions into the truth, into the higher level, talking to your inner child to know, this is the truth. Reparenting yourself. That's alchemy. And that all those people outside of you are just your energetic creations that were always helping you for your benefit. And it's not external, it's all you. You are the coder, you are the writer, you are the actor and the actress of your story. You are your partner, you are me. It's that connected, it's that intricate. So once we stop pretending we're separate, maybe we'll feel a bit less alone. Maybe we'll feel a bit less scared. The last thing I want to say is, in this magnificent game of life, it is meant to be spectacular. So it's not a game you take lightly. It's the top games of top games, because it feels so real. That's what you say in the game, right? If you are playing a game, you say, wow, it looks so real. This is the same thing, but this looks even more real, and we have mini games inside the mini games. So you get to decide now, what do you value? I value the truth and peace over everything, because I know there's nothing to gain in attaching to external things. It just becomes a pain-pleasure loop, cycle. We become at ease and in peace, regardless of the circumstances. That's pure freedom. Knowing thyself is pure freedom. And in a relationship, it looks like a lot of communication, talking about the fears and illusions and transmuting them together. That's a very powerful practice. So if you are in an intimate relationship and you desire an intimate relationship, it's not for nothing. An intimate relationship is the best, most intense catalyst you can have. But use it wisely, because it can go both ways. It can make you into a more loving person, more soft person, or it can make you into a bitter person, an angry, hard done by person who feels taken advantage of and creates coping mechanisms and becomes a user of people because you have been used. I invite you to go to the route of unconditional love, because that other thing is just a paradigm. You can shift out of it whenever you want. You can just be loving and forgiving. And it won't make you weak. It won't make you naive. It won't make you foolish or stupid. It will make you the wisest person alive, because you are closer to the truth than staying stuck in a fear paradigm that postures strength, but it's actually weakness, because you don't dare to be authentic. You don't dare to show yourself your scars, your teachings. You don't dare to tell your partner that you have a fear of abandonment, and then you project that on your partner. You don't tell your partner that you actually need validation because your mother never gave you enough validation. You don't tell your partner that you actually are so afraid that you seek safety in your partner instead of seeking safety in yourself. If you would just tell your partner your fears, then you can both tell the truth about it. Cry it out, anger it out, let all emotions go, and then transmute it, alchemize it. Because all you want in a relationship is that love that you had at first. It's not an illusion. People twist it around that the love was an illusion. No, the connection is never an illusion. We are all one and meant to connect and love. The ego just gets in the way and sabotages. The fear sabotages, but the love is always there and can never be destroyed in any connection. Any. The love is always there. But sometimes the love is so deeply buried that you can't stay with the person and you have to let them go. Because everyone has to do that inner work. Some people shut themselves down emotionally, and then they have this kind of appearance that, I'm detached, right? Mostly men do this. I know what's behind that. And you know that you feel numb, you're not happy, you want desperately to feel some connection. It is through facing those emotions. It is through being vulnerable. That's where the gold is. Through your triggers, through being vulnerable. And the language that your vulnerability speaks is, I just want love. I can't feel my own love right now. Can you please help me? That's actually what we try to tell each other as partners all the time. I don't feel appreciated or loved right now or respected right now. I feel taking for granted. I feel maybe I'm being used. So you drop back to the paradigm and we have to pull each other out again. Say, no, I love you. No, that's not true. That's a distortion from the matrix. I'm here with pure intentions because we are the same. And all your fears, all the things you say or do in your fear state is not the real you, it's the fake you. And all the things you say and do when you are at ease, at peace, you are naturally loving, giving, and forgiving, and tolerant. You are naturally soft and gentle and grace. You give people grace, But when you're in the fear state, you are in preservation mode. You hoard your energy and you are scared. And that's normal when you're in fear mode, but that's very painful for your partner because the partner then feels like they have to do the same. And then you go into transactional game playing. And communication, commune means to come together. Communion. That's actually a sacred, what do you call it? It's very sacred to commune, because when you communicate, you get into the mind control, the deeper levels where you are identified with illusions and lies and fears, which is the ego, and then you create ego death in each other. And death of the ego is messy. And it doesn't sound pleasurable because what? Because it isn't. Because you will feel the most alone and abandoned in your own triggers and your own patterns than anyone else can make you feel. It's all you. It's you choosing to listen to the demon inside, to the unconsciousness inside. And this is what we as humanity are transcending right now. It takes a tremendous amount of courage to keep choosing forgiveness and love while your 3D says that no one can be trusted and you have to be in survival mode and you have to think only of yourself. It takes courage and an amount of stubbornness and willpower to say, no, I know my truth. I will stay in the frequency of being love. I will give even if there are some human reflections taking advantage. I don't mind. Why? Because I can just recreate whatever is taken from me because I'm an abundant source of creative energy. The sun shines on everyone, regardless of their level of awareness. Be like the sunshine, be like the lighthouse. Doesn't matter the quality of people. You just be you, and that's the reward in itself. Is to be in that shining light is the reward in itself. So you never have to be in that restricting type of consciousness that you have to take from others or hoard or be scared, because that is the definition of hell and suffering. And the fear of being used and a doormat is gone. Because you can't, because you are only giving to yourself when you're in that state. So when you're in the other state, do not do anything of action. When you are in an anxious state, do not take action, because you will create a reflection of that reality being confirmed to you. Unless you want to create that and you want to try it out. You can. You'll see that your universe will respond exactly to the way you are. So the way you are is your frequency. It's what you emanate. It's in what state you are embodied in. And that state is what attracts you in your partner. So any hidden fears, any hidden doubts, any hidden irritation, anger, desires will be uprooted. They will. And then you can watch it, then it will lose power and momentum, But it will fight. It will fight for a moment. But then you become aware in the present moment. And I want to read from The Power of Now something about relationships. Because he can tell that in a very good way. Better than I can tell it, I think. So, from addictive to enlightened relationships. Can we change an addictive relationship into a true one? Yes, being present and intensifying your presence by taking your attention ever more deeply into the now. Whether you are living alone or with a partner, this remains the key. For love to flourish, the light of your presence needs to be strong enough so that you no longer get taken over by the thinker or the pain body and mistake them for who you are. To know yourself as the being underneath, the thinker, the stillness underneath, the mental noise, the love and joy underneath the pain, is freedom, salvation, enlightenment. To disidentify from the pain body is to bring presence into the pain and thus transmute it. To disidentify from thinking is to be the silent watcher of your thoughts and behavior, especially the repetitive patterns of your mind and the roles played by the ego. If you stop investing it with selfness, the mind loses its compulsive quality, which basically is the compulsion to judge, and so to resist what is, which creates conflict, drama, and new pain. In fact, the moment that judgment stops through acceptance of what is, you are free of the mind. You have made room for love, for joy, for peace. First, you stop judging yourself. Then you stop judging your partner. The greatest catalyst for change in a relationship is complete acceptance of your partner as he or she is, without needing to judge or change them in any way. That immediately takes you beyond the ego. All mind games and all addictive clinging are then over. There are no victims and no perpetrators anymore. No accuser and accused. This is also the end of all codependency, of being drawn into somebody else's unconscious pattern and thereby enabling it to continue. You will then either separate in love or move ever more deeply into the now together, into being. Can it be that simple? Yes, it is that simple. Love is a state of being. Your love is not outside, it is deep within you. You can never lose it, and it cannot leave you. It is not dependent on some other body, some external form. In the stillness of your presence, you can feel your own formless and timeless reality as the unmanifested life that animates your physical form. You can then feel the same life deep within every other human and every other creature. You look beyond the veil of form and separation. This is the realization of oneness. This is love. What is God? The eternal one life underneath all the forms of life. What is love? To feel the presence of that one life deep within yourself and within all creatures. To be it. Therefore, all love is the love of God. Love is not selective, just as the light of the sun is not selective. It does not make one person special. It is not exclusive. Exclusivity is not the love of God, but the love of ego. However, the intensity in which true love is felt can vary. There may be one person who reflects your love back to you more clearly and more intensely than others. And if that person feels the same toward you, it can be said that you are in a love relationship with him or her. The bond that connects you with that person is the same bond that connects you with the person sitting next to you on a bus, or with a bird, a tree, a flower. Only the degree of intensity with which it is felt differs. Even in an otherwise addictive relationship, there may be moments when something more real shines through, something beyond your mutual addictive needs. There are moments. These are moments when both you, and your partner's mind briefly subside, and the pain body is temporarily in a dormant state. This may sometimes happen during physical intimacy, or when you are both witnessing the miracle of childbirth, or in the presence of death, or when one of you is seriously ill, anything that renders the mind powerless. When this happens, your being, which is usually buried underneath the mind, becomes revealed, and it is this that makes true communication possible. True communication is communion, the realization of oneness, which is love. Usually, this is quickly lost again, unless you are able to stay present enough to keep out the mind and its old patterns. As soon as the mind and mind identification return, you are no longer yourself, but a mental image of yourself. And you start playing games and roles again to get your ego needs met. You are a human mind again, pretending to be a human being, interacting with another mind, playing a drama called love. Although brief glimpses are possible, love cannot flourish unless you are permanently free of mind identification, and your presence is intense enough to have dissolved the pain body, or you can at least remain present as the watcher. The pain body cannot then take you over and become so destructive of love. I can read on and on. This is Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So all conflict in any relationship, also on a societal level, stems from the ego. And we need to dissolve that ego. Hereby the mission is activated, right? Infinite love to you. Welcome to a new video. Thank you for watching. I've been having things on my mind, and this play of separation is very convincing. So we go out in this world, we think we're separate from everybody, we think we have to live a certain way, according to the constructs that are already existent. Consequently, what happens? You go into conflict with people that resonate on another level. You believe you have to be in conflict with people that don't resonate on the same level as you. So it all has to come down to values. What do you value? So society, which is our mind projected out, shapes our beliefs and our values differently. One person might value another thing, and another person might value another thing. If a person values hard work and being self-sacrificial is the norm to be that, and if another person has self-love and values being peace over being in conflict and in needing all the time, then those two persons go into conflict. And this is what happens inside our minds. Go in conflict with different paradigms. Like the levels of energy, you go into conflict with other colors. There's no resolve, because you cannot expect people to transcend their programming. They are a certain frequency and they are perfect as they are. Everyone is perfect. And it's just a matter of dissonance, non-resonance that happens. So then you encounter people that haven't awakened yet, or they find value in something else. They have this whole other worldview. They think the universe is not out. They think the universe is out there to get them. And then you have this new perspective, new paradigm. The universe is working in your favor, and everything helps. Everything is working in your benefit always. And everyone helps you to become more aware, and you become the observer. When two different paradigms collide, it often turns into conflict. So what do you do? Esoterically, the most important thing is your energy. And it is especially your emotional energy, which is most important. Every construct, which means every person, who has operated on a certain bandwidth, a certain paradigm, wants to be validated. They want your emotional energy in order to validate their worldview, their lifestyle, because that's truth to them. When they encounter someone that doesn't subscribe to the same ideology as they have, then there is a dissonance. There's a misunderstanding. Your frequency, the way you are, is perfectly reflected outwardly. Perfect. It's perfect. Which means every single one of you is perfect. In frequency, you perfectly are vibrating, oscillating in a way that projects a certain reality outward. So you create the perfect circumstances, the perfect opportunities, the perfect things that resonate exactly with your frequency. This means that everyone is right. Everyone, their truth is right. It's just a matter of focus. That's why you have people, they can pick out all the negative things. They don't appreciate the positive in others or even their own lives. Then they become miserable and project outwardly that life is hard. And yet, they fail to appreciate the things that did come to them. Focusing on the negative is a paradigm. It's just a habit. It's a frequency. There is actually no negative. There are just things happening all the time. That's what non-duality is about. Non-separation. There's only one. Everything is frequency. And every frequency corresponds with a certain reality. That's why you have people that have to work so damn hard to get their needs met. Because they believe in that construct. It's resonance. They would rather hang out with people on the same wavelength to validate their paradigm. Then you have other people to which everything comes easily. They're just lucky. They're just lucky. They are operating on a different frequency. And they can get things done that no one else can get done. People call them lucky. No, it's your frequency. It has nothing to do with your age, with your race, with your meat suit. It's your frequency. I've also noticed that if you emit a different frequency, you are very light. Those paradigms will get into conflict with you because they simply do not understand you. So this is an important lesson. You never can make certain paradigms understand you in a deep way. You understand yourself because you have done the inner work and inner self-reflective work. You've seen your own patterns. You've questioned your own reality, your own belief systems, and you shifted many times. You've awakened. Some don't get that privilege. Some are just born in their construct and they will die with that construct forever. It is very unique that you can get out of a certain construct that you have been born in. Not everyone in this game is meant for that. So the people who are meant for that are seen to the lower paradigms, or, well, it's not lower, it's not a value judgment. Different paradigms, less aware paradigms, which means less consciousness, more projection, more density, more programming, less compassion, less empathy. Talking about those lower dimensions, if you operate from that construct, it means that if you see a person who's living in being, in peace, who doesn't get as stressed about the so-called outer things, who doesn't behave like a slave to the 3D world and to their senses, they think they are irresponsible. lazy, just being. What do you mean just being? You have to be a productive slave, just like us, suffer with us, otherwise you're irresponsible. They fail to realize that by being peace itself, you have such an important, way more important contribution to society than perpetuating the cycle of suffering that you are all operating in. Working an 80-hour job for a toxic company that pollutes the earth makes you a bad person, because you perpetuate your old cycles. You bring generational trauma and don't break it. You're not transforming, and yet you bully the higher frequency people, facilitating change. Only seeing the bad. Oh, you are to blame. You are bad. I'm worried about you. Are you? You see, you can never explain topics of awareness or the immaterial or esoteric concepts to those people, because they will not grasp it. They are just preoccupied with the materialistic. They think that's a means to an end. And yet, observing neutrally, where's the fulfillment? Where's the happiness? It's nowhere to be found. Another point. It is important to not create a division with anyone. In your mind, you are okay with everyone. You don't argue in your mind with anyone, because that's reality creation right there. There's no point in arguing or having conflict or anything if you have such different worldviews that there's no point of resolution. That's also pointing to a split in consciousness. So you split like oil and water. When you have such a different view of life and others cannot comprehend, they start to become threatened and triggered. If you become a lighthouse, they start to project the worst things possible onto you, because you challenge their worldview. You get name called, worries, so-called. No, it's a completely selfish behavior of the ego. Because if an ego that you are strongly identified with cannot see things from another perspective, from another point of view, and it doesn't even have an interest in listening or opening up to new perspectives, that means you're stuck in your own programming, in your box. There's no point arguing. There's no point defending. It's the point of just observing and being aware. I see a lot of things going around on the internet that create division. So you have politics, you have females versus males. But you know what the truth is? It's your own intuition. Being sovereign in yourself and knowing what's right. When something doesn't feel right, your body will tell you. You will feel it. A healthy person also sees themselves as valuable. You are valuable for existing. And with that value, inherent value, that wholeness in itself, you naturally start expressing your natural value that you have. Your talents. Your gifts. You won't be sitting still. You won't be passive. You share your talents, your communication skills. You share your service. Why? Not to expect some narcissistic supply back. Not to expect some validation back and then become resentful when you don't get enough. You give unconditionally because you have self-worth. And it's not dependent upon the reaction of other people. You give unconditionally. People that give conditionally will give and use anything that they've given you against you. That's a frequency of victimhood, victim consciousness. You are separate from me. I need to get from you, and I need your precious validation. I own you now because I gave you something. And you have to change into something I want, and you have to keep giving me energy and validate my perspective and existence. You can be a person of your own because I've given you something. I would recommend you stay out of any energetic contracts with that because you don't need them. Especially when someone thinks they have a hold over you. They think you owe them your life force. You owe them an explanation or justification. Get away from them because you don't need that. Just keep on being in the now, keep creating from your heart, keep giving from your heart. Because those projections are just there to challenge your self-worth again and again. You created them. You are also a creation, so don't listen to your own thoughts either. Your own thoughts are also wrong. Your own opinions are wrong. My own opinions about situations are wrong because it's just one tiny perspective. I can understand everyone's perspective. I know where it comes from. I also understand my character perspective, but I don't identify with it. Which brings me back to the point that everyone is perfect, because everyone is frequency, and a perfect reflection of their frequency is projected into their reality. There truly is only the now moment, and the way out of lower consciousness is to stop justifying yourself, just stop justifying your existence to anyone. Stop taking blame, you're not to blame. You did nothing wrong. You did the best you could at the level you were at, frequency-based, and others too. They did their best at the way they, in fact, they acted perfectly according to the frequency they emitted. Stop arguing with your own creation. Everything is perfect. They are perfect. You were acting perfectly to the best of your ability. Because this is a perfect universe. Frequency-based. Problem is when you identify with this persona that's just an illusion. Mind identification. Everything is perfect, you always have what you need. And you take every moment, every circumstance, everything that happens as an opportunity to become more aware of yourself and of others. And then you merge your perspectives and you see all the perspectives for what they are. So every perspective of every person is valid. Because it's true, a true perspective. But it doesn't mean you have to subscribe to their perspective. You can create your own perspective. In fact, if you're watching me, you have created your own perspective and transcended all that. Once you know the nature of reality, which is everything is one, everything is here now, the striving stops. You get out of the hamster wheel. The rat race. You stop looking for outcome happiness. You stop escaping your terrible now moments to go to holidays. You are just present and peaceful in the now. You stop attaching to persons or people because you don't inherently need them. But you can go into an energetic contract with them and play a game together. That's up to you. I would recommend you only go into contracts with people who resonate on the same frequency. The other thing is a recipe for disaster, and it won't work anyway. You split like oil and water. There has to be at least a sufficient amount of awareness and compassion on both perspectives, on both sides, to be able to have a harmonious connection. People that can self-reflect and not project all their past, which is an illusion, onto others. They feel so miserable because they have subscribed to that construct their whole lives, and they believe in trauma, they believe they have to hold on to the past. They don't know that the now moment is the ultimate power of transformation, which you can let go of everything in the present moment. Because it's what you do now, what you are being now matters. If you're still with yourself, everything that comes up, you identify from it, and it will be worth it. Because then you finally feel calm. That's your natural state. Calmness, peace. Surrender to the present moment. The way to get your desired reality is also to not be emotionally manipulated by the 3D anymore, because the 3D doesn't have an inch of power over you. It has zero power over you. Your state is the power. The way you look at things is the power. Your perspective is the power. And when you are able to see multiple perspectives and hold them in your consciousness, then you become whole. And I've had client sessions, heard it times and times again. Business owners, millionaires, keep chasing and chasing, never feeling fulfilled. So clearly, outer circumstances aren't the answers. It's your emotional stability that's the answer. Being emotionally stable in the world of 3D, in the forms changing, knowing what to give your energy to and what not, is the ultimate answer. So the focus of your emotional energy is on gratitude and knowing you are the one. Everyone, to be sovereign. You are it. You are it. The answer is you. It's so cliche. I'm also not a guru. You're not dependent on me. That's the least thing I want to do. That's the last thing I want to do. This is an expression of my value, what I've known, and you share this without expecting something in return. That's unconditional love, unconditional giving, because giving is receiving. Whatever you give, money-wise, energy-wise, resource-wise, service-wise, you will receive. And if it's conditional, you will become resentful, and that's a bad state of energy. Never give if it doesn't feel okay. Never give if it doesn't feel okay, because you will resent people, and they don't deserve that. And then it's an opportunity for you to, if you become resentful, it's an opportunity to be in victim mode. Oh, you see, people always take advantage of me. It's an excuse to be able to indulge in poor little me, traumatized little me. That's also a pattern and a program. You're never a victim. You just don't know about energy. How to properly exchange energy. That means it starts with giving when you truly feel like giving unconditionally without expecting something in return, because that's inauthentic. This reality doesn't like authenticity. You give unconditionally without giving in return, needing something in return. And giving is receiving. So whatever you give, others will give to you. It's a harmonious thing, and this universe is not out here to get you. It's out here to love you and make you happy and see you joyful and peacefully. You know, when you're truly in the moment, For example, I saw this wonderful comment. It was this man that said, I used to stress and worry about everything, about bills, about circumstances, life. And then he had a daughter, and then he was just enjoying life and being in the moment with his daughter a lot. And then everything just seems to come. Everything just seems to come together perfectly. Resources came. Everything was good. I think the big joke is that we pretend that we have to go out there and get things. And if we were just enjoying in the present moment, everything will be okay. That's also why when we have fun, when we go out there and enjoy life, things just come perfectly. We just enjoy the present moment. We are in gratitude, and that's a very, very strong frequency, gratitude. Instead of looking at things that are wrong all the time, appreciate the people around you, especially. Appreciate what they have done for you, because the mind is very tricky and it will select the things they didn't do right in your eyes. And then it will create a demon out of them. Victim consciousness again. I have a lot of experience with these types of people, and the best way is to completely detach and love them from afar. Harbor no bitterness. Be in joy. Compassion. That's the key. We've created a wonderful community on the Telegram group. I've talked to a few people over the days, and keep reminding each other, because all we need is to remember who we are and be in that high frequency, which is gratitude and joy and love. That will be way more transformative for the world and each other, and that's the biggest positive impact you can have. If you're in that high frequency, that trumps, how many was it? There was this number, which I don't remember, but one peaceful person, one enlightened person, negates and stabilizes 100,000 negative people or fear-based people. That's how strong this frequency game is. So this is the enormous impact. This energy thing is also why you gain attraction from people. It's not about the outer things. It's about being authentic. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. See you in the next one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Why did you find this message? I have not pulled any cards. Let's see what happens here. Why did they find this? King of Swords with the Chariot coming out with the Devil on the bottom of the deck. Wow. Moving on from some kind of something that was holding you down, something that was keeping you chained, okay? We have the Devil at the bottom of the deck. Okay, and the Devil it can talk about addictions, just something having you feeling like you're stuck, you know what I mean? It's very interesting, okay, because so this is talking about, you had this mental breakthrough. There's something here about, you guys, this could have been lower spirits whispering in your ear, lying to you, trying to program you since young is what I'm hearing, okay? There's been a programming here that's happened, and you've had to slowly reprogram yourself, rewire yourself back to balance, which is the Chariot, okay? So it's like there's something here. For this to be the very first thing that comes out, you guys, I am getting here that I feel like this was lower spirits. For this to be the first thing that comes out, you guys, I feel like this was some type of targeting, some type of attack. I don't even like saying the word attack. So I'm going to say targeted. What's wrong? Lyra. It's okay, baby. Lyra. Lyra's going to throw up. You guys, this was an attack. This was something, okay, Lyra, okay, my cat, Lyra. The constellation Lyra could be significant. You could be from that constellation. But what I'm getting here, my cat is throwing up. Everything is a sign. There is something that you have expelled. Yeah, he's throwing up. It's okay, Lyra. Sorry, Bodhi. It's okay, baby. I'm right here. There's something. There's a reason why that happened. There is a reason why that happened. There's something that you have expelled out of your system, you guys. Lyra just threw it up. So I feel like there's something, it's like almost like you've just thrown up, okay? It's something. There's a lower spirit here. Let's get more. There's a lower spirit here that you have moved on from. This was some type of attack. But that had to be the first thing to come out. And then Lyra throws up like that. There's something that you're releasing out of your system or that you have released out of your system. And I feel like it's already happened because the Chariot is all about forward movement. Okay, so there's something here about integrating the shadow as well. Okay, integrating the shadow. And I feel like this was, there was a lot of, I want to say like presents, gifts when you did this. There's something here about integrating the shadow and the ego. The devil. There is something about that, an integrated shadow, okay? And I feel like there's someone here, you've had to throw up or release something that was extremely low vibrational. For some of you, this could have been a lower spirit, okay? You are moving on from this. You have released it out of your system. The Chariot is telling me you're moving forward from this. The King of Swords is telling me that you are fully aligned with your truth, and there's some things that you probably have had to cut out, either some mindsets, some patterns, some habits, some people, some environments, things you were ingesting, the way you were eating. Everything. I feel like there was there's something here about just throwing it all up. Like this low vibrational like way of life, like just bleh. You know what I mean? That's what I'm feeling here. You're moving on from something here, and it's very low vibrational. I'm almost getting like this was a spiritual reaction to you. You could be feeling nauseous as of lately. There's something here about having this spiritual reaction of like your literal, like your spirit literally just going, whoa. Like I can't, my energetic body, and I'm getting chills right now, okay? So you could be having chills as well. My energetic body, wow. It's almost like I'm seeing someone's body light up. Okay, I'm seeing a body, right? And it's all dark, but I'm seeing the outline of the body, right? The outline of the body is white, and we're in a dark place right now, and it's all dark inside the outline of the body, right? And then I'm seeing these like lights go on inside of the shape of the body, little by little by little. These lights turning on, and I feel like, you guys, I feel like you have integrated so much light that it's almost like expelling the dark, and it's spiritual reaction of like the more light, the more truth. The more truth you learn, the more it expels the dark out of you, the shadow. This is so interesting. It's so interesting. There's something that you're getting rid of here. The lights keep going on. There's more lights that keep coming on in you. The more that you learn, King of Swords, the more that you learn, the more these lights turn on, and the more lower vibrational energies get expelled out of your energy. That's what's happening here. The more you learn, the more these lights turn on inside of you, and the more lights that turn on inside of you, the more the dark becomes expelled out of you. And it's like it's an energetic reaction, and that's what it is. It's like a throwing up. It's an energetic reaction. I'm holding too much light, so I can't hold the dark. Blah. Do you know what I mean? I hope this is making sense. Three of Swords with the Lovers in reverse. You guys, this is some kind of attack. You have been, please use your discernment. I don't want to just say, oh, you've been attacked, and then everybody thinks they've been attacked. That's not what this is. Please use your discernment, okay? That's not why I'm doing this, so please use your discernment, okay? There's at least 3 heartbreaks that are coming up here. This could have been from an ex, okay? This could have been, we could be talking about an ex-lover that has hurt you very badly, but I'm getting this is at least 3 relationships that you were in that have, guys, I don't know, bro, but I'm getting that, you know, there's 3 people, okay, and it's up to 3 people that you have been with romantically that have had lower spirits attached to them. Okay, and then you know, maybe you break up with them, but it's like, and then you're still feeling like shit. The world is always helping you. Everyone in your world is always helping you. Ungaslight yourself. I appreciate that. Okay. Alabama coast. I'm gonna scroll back because I missed some. Canada, hello. Oklahoma. What time is it in the USA? Tulsa, thank you. UK, sunny UK, sunny Ireland. Thank you. New York City, hello. Everyone is doing good and amazing today. Oh. Oh, okay. Provider. Sorry. Oh, okay. Oh, so it's in the beginning of the day. You see how time is relative as well? Thank you. Romania. Lots of love. Holland. Hup Holland. Hi, India. I want to talk about different worldviews and how they affect your reality. When you have a different worldview, it can affect your mood and your whole life. So depending on which perspective you inhabit in this life is what determines how your life will go and what you feel on a daily basis. It's very important to question your worldview. I want to address a few worldviews that you can inhabit in this reality. I want to address the Gnostic worldview. It's quite popular. I want to address the Orthodox Christian worldview. And I want to address the opposite of the Christian Orthodox worldview, and that is Satanism. So what happens if you inhabit a certain worldview? It's a perspective. So the Gnostics, they believe, and this has been around for thousands and thousands of years, they believe this physical reality is a trap. The material world is a trap. And it's led by the demiurge, so the false god. It's led by a false, controlling, jealous god that wants to harvest your energy. The Gnostic approach is the reality is a simulation. It's not real. It's a shadow creation from the true creation, which is beyond what we can perceive with our 5 senses. The Gnostics also teach that you have to escape. You have to escape this physical trap and undo yourself from any desire, any physical pleasures. This Gnosticism is found in many different schools of thought and many different streams
streams of religion. That's the Gnostic approach, and many elites, so-called elites, believe in the Gnostic approach of life. This means that when you are thinking that the world is a trap, you need to escape the matrix, it means that you start to become defensive in a fighting spirit and angry, because this is not the real realm. This is the demiurge realm. So the devil here reigns supreme. This creates paranoia and a whole range of different feelings and thoughts in a person. So if you believe that this God wants to harvest you and you've been here, we are all formed here as an energy form. Like Robert Monroe, that's a out-of-body traveler, also perceived that the earth is a farm, and we're being harvested of our energy, which is called loosh farming. Loosh is the energy you emanate when you have fear, stress, desire, the strongest feelings that deplete your energy field, and you give your life force to these astral parasites. And you can see this in hierarchical structures. It works the same way. The parasites suck from the lower hierarchies. When you think in this manner, then you want to be on top of the pyramid, do you? Don't you? This is why many elites take the Gnostic approach, and they do everything in their power to gain more power over others. And they do it by any means necessary. They do rituals, they call in powers in the astral plane that help them and give them material power, fame, and wealth. If you believe the Gnostic approach and that we're here to escape, then you start to hate the universe, or you hate creation. So this is, in my opinion, a trap. This is a trap, because if you have come across a Gnostic-minded individual, you see that they are the most bitter, unhappy people that exist, and they justify acting in horrible ways because it's fake anyway, or they are just NPCs. So this is kind of a Gnostic approach. The biblical story, which is the story of Adam and Eve, is that Eve was in the garden with Adam. There was a tree of knowledge, and the God said, "Do not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, because you will become like me, you will have my power." And then they ate the apple, and the Gnostics believe that the snake, the serpent, was actually the serpent of wisdom. The serpent told the truth, that reality is a prison, and the God was wicked, evil. The demiurge wanted to capture them. So self-enlightenment, so eating from the tree of knowledge, would give Eve and Adam power. It would give them unlimited power and escape the demiurge, which is the fake God, false God. So it's about self-enlightenment. And maybe you've been brought up as a Christian, as an atheist, as a scientist, or as a Gnostic or agnostic. So let's go to the overwhelming evidence of all the things in the world that are happening right now. When you look at movies, or you look at Hollywood and the things that are happening in the news, you could say that you have a Gnostic life view. If you believe all the negativity, all the things, you can also get paranoid, which is also the Gnostic view. The Gnostic view, Gnosticism, is very popular among the elites of the elites. A Gnostic view is that essentially this realm is led by the demiurge. The demiurge is the false god. It's essentially the devil or Satan or whatever you call it, Baal. You have different names. Bear with me. I will do my best to explain this to the best of my ability. You have the demiurge and you have this whole creation. This whole creation is an illusion, right? Gnosticism is this. This whole creation is an illusion. This is a simulated reality. It's a shadow reality. And we are governed by beings that are outside of that reality, that are farming us like cattle of our divine spark energy. So we are living in a human farm, and aliens are harvesting our energy. That's essentially what it is. That's the Gnostic view. The reason I know that the elites believe this is because if you look at Hollywood movies, there's always this undertone of this paradise is not true paradise. This paradise is actually a prison planet. And I want to shout out a few movies that are perfect in expressing this framework, this belief system of these humans, right? You have The Matrix, that's a classic one. The Matrix and all the Matrix. So you are alive in the Matrix. The Matrix is the illusion, the fake world. You have this guy, Mr. Anderson, and this guy is working his job, doing all the programmed things, but he wants to escape. He feels inside a bug, so he glitches himself and he escapes. This is in line with the Gnostic worldview, and it has been around for thousands and thousands of years. It's not a new thing. None of what we're experiencing is new. It's just in a different color. It's just in a different flavor. Everything is constantly repeating itself. The fall of the Roman Empire is repeating itself. The rising and falling of different civilizations is repeating itself. This is nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new. That's why people can predict the future. No, it's just pattern recognition. There's nothing new here. So what the people believe, who is into Gnosticism, mostly hardcore conspiracy theorists, mostly the high elites. The most paranoid people do have the Gnostic worldview. Okay? Then you have the opposed one, which is actually the same coin. It's the other side of the same coin, which is the New Age. The New Age pendulum, or the New Age thought, is also a group, an energy form that's floating around. And they also have a good point. So the New Age is that everything is perfect, all is well, everything is divine, and creation is good, and God is good. The universe is benevolent and lovable. New Age can become overly naive and close off, do not see the negative, which perpetuates the negative. So it's cutting itself off from all the negative in creation. And Gnosticism is cutting itself off from all the positive in creation. So if you mix New Age and Gnosticism together, you are a balanced individual. So that's already it. If you look at the movie Back to Gnosticism, Think Twice, that was the movie's name. That's the perfect representation of the Gnostic worldview. You have this billionaire, he's inviting people over to his private island. He takes their phones, he isolates them from all the other things in the world, and the party can begin, right? So at first it seems like a paradise, but then you have the serpent. So it's like the serpent in the Garden of Eden, the snake. The serpent in Gnosticism represents forbidden knowledge of the tree of good and evil. According to the Gnostics, you should eat from the tree of good and evil because that's how you get out. That's how you escape the false god, the demiurge. So in this movie, the serpent, she drinks the serpent venom. It's green, it's venom. She drinks it, and then she wakes up to the truth that they are all being used there and siphoned of their energy. This also has to do with Sophia, that means divine wisdom. And this woman wakes up, she has divine wisdom, and she escapes the island. She has beaten the demiurge, and the demiurge is the false god that is flawed and ignorant and jealous and just evil. That created this whole place, had all the power. Maya, like in the Hindu religion as well. Salvation is through gnosis, which is inner knowledge. In the Gnostic religion, they don't get saved by an external god. They get saved by, they wake up through awareness. So it's about waking up. There's no external god. Contrary to Orthodox Christianity, where there is a good God, the creator God is good. Creation is good, but creation has fallen. So we are fallen angels, the Nephilim. And the only salvation comes through an external Christ that saved all of you. So salvation through the Christ and the resurrection. So what makes sense to you? Is this world a prison because there's so much pain? Is this world a heaven on earth? And everything is perfect? Or is this world a mix of both? And this realm is the realm of choice. You can decide and choose which direction you can go. So you can play with evil, or you can play with good. Is it the perfect balance of good and evil? Is this a prison you have to escape, or is it just a game? You see, how you look at the world is more important than you think, because every single decision is made upon the paradigm you are living in. If you are a Gnostic, chances are high that you are quite depressed. You feel hard done by, you're angry at the world because this is a prison and you have to escape. Then you have the New Agers, and the Gnostics don't like the New Agers because they're blind, they're ignorant. They try to make heaven in the prison, they try to decorate the prison, but we should be getting out. What if all these different perspectives are true, but it's just a different point of view? So they're all true, but it's a different viewpoint. And in order to become a more integrated awareness, you integrate all the perspectives into you, which means a little bit of Gnosticism, a little bit of New Age, a little bit of Christianity, a little bit of atheism even. And I want to go to the opposite of Christianity. The opposite of Orthodox Christianity is Satanism. Satanism was created in 1966 by Anton LaVey. 66, of course. This is the epitome of the ego. So there's no God, no spirituality, nothing. We are here to serve the ego and the ego alone. There's nothing beyond death. This is what it is. We are animals and we have an animal nature. Do what you want. That is Satanism. That's a very opposed. Satanism was born out of Christianity, because if something is flawed or not in balance, the opposition will appear. So if New Age is not in balance with the darkness and the light, it creates Gnosticism. And Gnosticism, if you are too paranoid in reality, it will create New Age. So what is the truth? The middle path. Sometimes are good, sometimes are bad. You can have life experience where you see darkness. And you can see life experiences where you experience something pure. People doing good, people helping each other, saving each other from horrible things. And it's beautiful. Or, and I have another one, but I made that one up myself because we are creators, right? So we can make up whatever story we like in this realm. Maybe this is all a sandbox game and there are no rules. And we're just spawned here. And it's just a game. Maybe it doesn't matter what you believe or what you subscribe to. The point is that you can. And then you can create what you subscribe to. And everything exists. All the colors, all the frequencies, all the different colors of the rainbow, from the red to the violet and beyond, exist. And you can't cut off the lower levels or the higher levels, because it all just exists. And all that matters is in which playing field you want to occupy yourself, because all the choices are there. It's like a giant buffet. What if you can just choose?
Okay.
What if the way out is actually realizing that you're not in prison? What if the way out is you stop believing that you're living in a limited universe and just playing a limitation game? In any game, you adhere to certain rules, but who's beyond that is the observer and has no rules. So you're just observing you playing a limited game. What if all the evil in the world, that is, you don't even have to see it for it to be there, because everything is already all that is. So there's always polarity. Hot, cold, dark, light. So it's not even a question that extreme darkness exists, extreme light exists. And if you can accept that, why would you be resisting that or angry? Because creation is complete and there's nothing you need to do, because creation is complete. And maybe the salvation, the true salvation, is you knowing that the creation is complete. Some people do it by surrendering to the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If that works for you, fine. Some people do it by meditation, self-realization, meditating in a cave. If that works for you, fine. Others do it through atheist, satanic doctrine. Get all your desires met. Are all your desires fulfilled? We only serve the ego. The ego is all that exists. It's a very limited, small viewpoint. Must be very lonely. But if it works for you, you cannot stop any other player from choosing. You're not allowed to interfere with anyone else's game, because then there's no game. The question is, what do you believe? What do you believe, and in which paradigm did you place your whole existence? Do you believe in the Christian story that Eve told Adam to eat the apple of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then the serpent deceived Eve, and the serpent is actually the devil, the reptilian devil, and that's why Adam and Eve, they ate from the apple. They got cast out of heaven, so they were fallen angels, and now they have to get back to the garden again by saying sorry. Say, oh, sorry, we ate the apple, we have sinned, we're sinners, in order to get back to heaven again. Or was the garden actually secretly a prison, and did they eat the apple? The serpent was actually the bearer of knowledge, forbidden knowledge, and saved Adam and Eve. because it was a matrix, it was a simulated fake heaven. And you have a divine spark within you, so you are actually God. And you externalize your power. You see that all the stories actually can make sense. Which one is true? Are you God, or do you surrender to God? Or is there no God? And are you an atheist? And if there is no God, then the only power there is other human beings that make decisions and have these power struggles over each other. And it's all a hierarchical game. There's no higher power that keeps everything in balance. There's nothing after death. See, the nature of reality is so interesting because who actually knows for sure what's going on? Even if you just copy and paste, okay, that's my savior, I believe in this, fine. Oh, everything is good, fine. How do you know for sure? Just start thinking about that before you believe anything you hear from any paradigm. I prefer to look at nature. I think, okay, nature, in my physical senses, I perceive of nature, and it goes deeper than the physical senses. It's a feeling of well-being, a wellspring of well-being. That's where your energy is from, nature. Then, okay, what's the truth? Follow nature. Follow the natural cycles and intuition. And then all is well, but all cannot be well because there is polarity. So you have to train yourself mentally to transcend polarity. Non-duality teachers tell you transcend the lower realms, so the narcissism, the ego, everything, all the other perspectives, but you don't transcend, you don't reject any of them. You take them in. You take them with you. You take all the perspectives with you, because if you accumulate all the perspectives in your world, all the people, then you get closest to the truth. If you accumulate them all, if you are open, you always have a beginner's mind. You're never done gathering data. Then you stay open-minded, and then you gain more awareness. Not when you close off and you think you have all the answers. That's when you get stuck in one corner and you don't expand your consciousness, you don't grow. And for consciousness to not expand and grow, that's the worst thing for consciousness. Consciousness wants to always expand, grow, and be creative. They always want to flow. So if you ever close your mind to other perspectives, that means you rob yourself of your own growth and you stay stagnant. And that's fine if that's okay with you. But if you stay stagnant forever, you won't grow. If you're not open-minded and sharp mentally, you won't even perceive that you're wrong, because there's this Dunning-Kruger effect, which is the effect that if you close yourself off, you think you have all the answers. There's this false perceived sense of wisdom that you have. And you stop learning, you stop being open to new data sets. And then you're actually more ignorant than someone with a beginner's mind. Because you already know everything. It feels safe, but it really isn't safe. Constant expansion and movement is safe, because upward movement will keep you safe, and it's a paradox. So staying in one belief system is not safe. It's false comfort. Maybe that's a false matrix. The false paradise, knowing everything. So it's important to know thyself. There's no separation in anything. There's no externalization of, well, if you first start out, then it's useful to believe in a higher power, because if you've spent your whole life feeling powerless, it's like a crutch. It's such a relief to have a higher power look out for you. So you give your life to that higher power. But then as you progress, then you start to merge with that higher power. And this is what Christians also talk about. If they talk about the kingdom of God is within you, you're supposed to merge with all that is, with nature and whatever you call it. You're merging with it. So in the Gnostics, the demiurge is you as well. So you merge with the demiurge and the real creator. Because the real creator created the demiurge, but created the human, or so it goes. It's all a creation of the one. So how can it be wrong? When you know thyself like this, you start to merge all the archetypes. You think, wow, so many different aspects of self. I understand all their perspectives. The understanding all perspectives is when you're done. So the understanding of all perspectives is cosmic empathy. You know how to put yourself in the shoes of all other living life forms. That's how you become enlightened. You are one with everything and you love everything so deeply because you understand. Love is understanding and listening. Love is not closing off and thinking you know everything. Love is knowing thyself. And there's no separation. There's no wrong perspectives because every perspective needs to be collected and transmuted into the whole. All perspectives. So you stop fighting your reality, stop fighting your mirrors, and start collecting your mirrors. Oh, another perspective, interesting. Not the whole truth, everything is a half-truth. That's also in Hermeticism, everything is a half-truth. You can't know the whole truth when you're in a limited framework, when you're in a limited avatar. But you can come closer, get closer to it. And that's why when people start to notice, oh, you're intelligent, you're wise. Yes, because I'm collecting the data points, which you aren't doing. You're fighting the data points. Why aren't you collecting? Taking the other as self. Collect it. There's no enemy. Unless you start to fight yourself, then there are many enemies. So in this game, I see it as a game, and it's a perfect balance between dark and light because the whole rainbow with all the perspectives, all the levels of consciousness are one thing. It's one thing, it's full. And you can dabble in the lower realms, which is interesting. And you can dabble in the higher realms, which is pretty great and beautiful. But it's all beautiful. Because without the contrast, there wouldn't be a human experience, a human game. With that said, you can now choose wisely because you have the choice to believe in whatever you want to believe any story you want to believe. I would suggest believing the stories that you want, the good ones that make you feel. Believe the stories that get you to that higher level on the scale of consciousness. The Hawking scale of consciousness, you know that one? Believe in the beliefs that bring you to wisdom, love, joy, peace. And discard the other beliefs that bring you on a lower level. Because if you think we're in a prison planet, everyone's out there to get you, the universe is not benevolent, then you're going to have a lot of fear, anger, despair, hopelessness. So you're lower on the scale, which is less energy for you. So that means it's less truth. The more truth, the more energy you have. So go to love. The Gnostic approach, not so much. New Age is can be toxic positivity. So closing your eyes to the whole other part of creation also takes away your energy. Ignorance is not bliss because it will catch up with you. When you go too much to the light, you're not balanced. The shadow behind you gets bigger and grabs you from behind. You notice when you go to a light, your shadow becomes bigger. You can't escape your shadow, which is the other side of creation, the darkness. Whatever saves you, whatever you feel good with, whatever makes you feel more love and happiness, that's your salvation. Okay? You can say you are your own savior, you save yourself, or you can be saved by an external God. But there's no such thing as external, it's all aspects of you. But if it works as a crutch, fine. There's something beyond the ego, and that's the higher power maybe. That you can see this as external, but there's no difference between internal and external. Because we're living in a mirror universe. Okay, New Age as well, manifestation, everything. Whatever you focus on, wherever your energy flows, you create more of. Which is true. They are telling the truth. But when something in your experience happens, some darkness, ignoring it is a choice of will for ignorance, and that's how the darkness also gets bigger. So you look at the darkness, you don't overly focus on it, you don't start overly focusing on the negative and start calling it demonic. Everything that's not Jesus Christ is demonic. That's also a bit excessive. But you notice it, and then you say, okay, we have to do something, and then you create the opposite polarity. When there's fear, you create courage, and then you start to go to that side. You have to create the opposite with your power. So what many people are doing, they focus on the negative too much. That's narcissism. Oh, it's horrible. Get us out of here. We need an external savior. You are shown that so you can transmute it yourself. Then you say, okay, I want a world where there's peace, where there's harmony. I will take this and this and this action to make this life more peaceful, to make myself more healthy, to make the ones I love more healthy. And we're taking action because our beliefs, our thoughts are aligned with taking that action. So you actually take action to, okay, now I will support with my attention things that give growth, people that are loving. I will give my money to people that are loving. I will give my money to characters in my story that create more love. These are the people that should be growing more. At the same time, you withdraw your money and your energy from the people that take away from it. You don't give them an ounce of energy. You starve them of your energy because you are the source. And you give them to the new world, right? This is what you can do with your action. It just makes sense that you feed what you want. You put the soil where you want things to grow, and you starve the other things that you don't want to see. Turn off the TV. You create the new thing. You have to claim your freedom. And the thing in this realm is you have to really explicitly claim your freedom. That means you say directly in your reality, I claim my freedom. And then you take the steps to claim your freedom. And you don't go back. I claim my freedom. You have to claim it. You have to make the decision. Because the universe only responds to a true decision. You can't waver, I'll stay a slave, I'll stay imprisoned, I'll stay small. It doesn't allow for that. Then the choice is the other way. With clarity, you have to make the choice. Very obviously. And then it will be so. Choice, a decision. Now I want to be healthy. I want to live a healthy lifestyle. And it's a choice. It's a decision. It's a true decision. Not a fake one. Now I want to be independent. That's a true decision. Not a fake one. Now I want to do this project true decision. I want to make this painting. I want to be an artist. You have to claim it, and you have to shut out the rest of the world, because the world is you, and it's just reflecting your own limiting beliefs. Whatever you say goes. You're the creator. So no, this is not a prison, but it can feel like a prison if you look at it that way, because bad things happen and you think, oh, why am I stuck in duality? It's not a prison. Salvation is through being the creator. It's not through external savior. Well, you can feel like it's an external savior, but it's you. It's you. What you now can do is focus your attention and energy on the thing you wish to create. And it's not a fantasy, it's not just your imagination, it is the literal substance of reality creation itself. So when you decide to be a reality creator, it means that you decide what life looks like, what your standards are. You don't lower your standards, you go for what you want. And you stop believing in these stories. They're all stories. Do they serve you? Do they make you go higher on the scale of consciousness or lower? If you don't, you can just cut the beliefs. You can cut the beliefs and not subscribe to them anymore. All that matters is your frequency. When you watch movies are very powerful. They are television. They are making you visualize a specific reality. Seeing as most movies are Gnostic-minded movies, it can become a trap of you feeling that we are trapped and you have this matrix. You also have, I haven't even talked about it, Stranger Things. You have these children being kidnapped. And they, it's like the matrix, the same thing. They have this weird thing in their mouth, and they're being fed slop, just disgusting in their mouth. Very disturbing. The same thing happened in the Matrix movie, where they are in a pod, they're fed slop. They're being fed bullshit. This is symbolic for you being fed false belief systems that lower your frequency. False things, false realities. You also have the children that guy, the monster kidnapped the children in Stranger Things, and they have this house, and it's like paradise, isn't it? It's the same Gnostic story with the demiurge. You have this false god, which is flawed, which is the guy. And the children are there, and they can have whatever they want, but they are being harvested in their energy. And they're being used. It's a lot of usury in the symbolism. And this brings me to Hollywood and those files that came out as well. Epstein files. I've known about that for years and years, but it's like the masses have this leg that they see it way later, the truth. Everyone has their own pace, I suppose. But the darkness has always been there in any SRA. It is the opposite of the divine creation, so it's the opposite. It's an inversion of everything. This is a part of creation. The negative, the horrific is part of creation. And of course, these elites pump out movies that reflect their worldview. It's the same with, in Stranger Things, there's this girl. Her name is Holly, and she looks dressed up like the character from The Wizard of Oz, which is a movie that has the same symbolism again. She goes on a journey, she's stuck in this land, and then she has to escape. And then she realizes that the demiurge is just this guy operating the machine, and she could go home whenever she liked. And there you have all these fake characters saying, "Oh, this is how you get out." how do you get out? By not believing in it in the first place. It's just a story. It's a rabbit hole that you go into. If you know that you have the power now to not believe anything anyone says, not even your partner, not even your family, do not believe anyone. But you decide who you are and what you believe in. Let no one, not even me, no one, not me, not anyone tell you who you are or what to believe. No one. Because what you believe determines your frequency on the scale of consciousness, and that's what matters. What do you believe that brings you to the highest level on the scale? And that's the correct belief system. Let all the other things go. Don't listen to the Gnostics, don't listen to the New Agers, don't listen to the Christians, don't listen to the Satanists, don't listen to the atheists, don't listen to the scientists. Listen to your soul. Don't listen to psychics, they are also well, they're there to reflect what you already know about yourself, because whatever you pick up from them is your own interpretation anyway. So what do you believe? You have to occupy your own perspective. You are being prepared to create your own universe. You're in preparation to create your own universe. You're in a little egg, and you're being birthed and encouraged to think for yourself so you can create your own universe when you leave this body. So prepare for that, I'm telling you. And don't let any external thing, which is your own movie, tell you who you are, what to do, how to think, because it's all an illusion, isn't it? Nothing is true, everything is permitted. You go on, you do the lifestyle you want. Nobody has authority over you. Whatever middle of consciousness, so peace, love, joy, is best. And a joyful, peaceful person automatically, naturally does moral things. Because you'll soon realize that stealing doesn't feel good, harming others doesn't feel good, being in fear doesn't feel good. So what do? You don't do those things because they're ridiculous. Because you're a source, you are abundant already, because you are directly connected. You are the source. You are the source of creation. You are a masterpiece and wonderful. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Hi everyone. How are you? It's whiteboard time. Oh, a little reflection there. What is this? Tell me what this is, okay? Welcome to another lesson in consciousness. This is a dot, right? Right? What is this? A dot. This dot is actually you. Believe it or not. You're just a point of consciousness. You're just a point of consciousness. Right? Why is this important? Because you stop taking the movie, the game so seriously. Right? And everyone is a dot. Everyone is a dot. So when you are a dot, you have a lot of mirrors around you. Whoop. Mirrors that reflect back at you something that you are. The reflection can be anything. Anything that can be shaped by molecules, by particles. Because we're all made of molecules, particles, right? In the womb of creation, by the way, relax, get something to drink, and let yourself be in a relaxed state, because there's no worries, there's nothing wrong, everything is perfect. So the womb of creation is all darkness, it's black. In the womb of creation, we call that the void. I sometimes call it the ninth dimension. It takes 9 months to birth a baby. 9 months for creation to finish. Okay? What you also are is that point of consciousness that I just mentioned. That point of consciousness you are projects things into the holographic reality. That means when you project stuff, things, material items into the physical, it's reflected back to you. But who is you? You is not this body, because this is also a reflection. The physical body is also a reflection of nothingness. So the void, right? So when you are nothingness and you pretend to be a shape, you pretend to be a body with hair, a meat suit, what's going on there? You are pulled into the story, with your emotions, with your thoughts. But where do your thoughts come from? Where do these stories come from? Where do these emotions come from? They literally come out of nowhere, out of nothing. Everything is projected out of nothing. But in your mind, you believe in linear time, which makes you think that the story progresses linearly. There's a cause and an effect, and then another cause, another effect, and that's how you create a storyline. A storyline. Everything you experience is a story, and we're all storytellers. There's nothing in this world, this realm, that doesn't contain a story within. So now we come to the important part. What is your story? Your story is to be born, and then you experience a childhood, teenage years, adulthood, and you go through things and stuff. What humans tend to do, human ego, is they tend to identify heavily with the story. And what does this create? Oh. Wow, this is more difficult than you think. This creates unhappiness, okay? You think, why am I here? What is going on? I don't like life. The economy, politics, drama, chaos, conflict, wars. We all forgot what the point is, okay? So there are, in a story, what are there? There are good guys, bad guys, or I see it as gray personalities, black and white, and other gray personalities, black and white. There's not really a distinct good or bad. There's just different agendas and intentions colliding with each other. So when you see in the so-called external world, when you see stuff happening, you think those are the bad guys and I am the good guy. But all the bad guys think they're the good guys. Why is this? Because they have a different point of view. They are a different perspective of all that is. What's very helpful for you to know is that when you look at these things, when you perceive the storyline, you stop identifying with the story immediately, naturally. So when you see everything as a story, just a story playing out, and you know everyone is this, okay? Remember this, you're this. You're not your meat suit. You're not the job you do. You're not your role you play. You're not the mother, the father, the brother, the sister, the accountant, the pilot. You're not the child. You're not the adult. That's just the role you play. You, in fact, are this, just a pure observer. You observe the storylines. Then you get identified with your story. And that creates stress, worry, fear, and suffering. The fear is only there, and this is an important one, the fear is only there when you are too much zoomed in to your character, to your human avatar. So when you zoom in, you feel everything. You feel the pain, you feel the joy, you feel the pleasure, you feel the disgust, you feel all the emotions of the palette of consciousness. Any emotion is accessible to you. And as a matter of fact, you are all the energies, all the emotions. They are all contained within you. Because in a holographic universe, the whole contains, the tiniest bit contains the whole within it. We are all copies of each other. We are all connected to the whole inside the smallest bit as a mirror reflection. So it's a mirror world. There's nothing outside of you. There's nothing separate. And it is difficult for our human mind to comprehend because we're so zoomed into our human avatar, our game. And this is meant to be that way because if you weren't zoomed in your character, you would see your life, they call this depersonalization, you would see your life from a third person point of view. You would just look at this character and not feel the real experience. So it's meant to be that way, that you can't see any other perspective much, and you can't comprehend anything outside of your character. Okay, so that's your limited perspective. But that creates the illusion that you're separate from others. Okay, I just visited waves yesterday. Beautiful, wild, powerful waves on the coast of Ireland. And these waves, what we are is of course the ocean. There you have a wave, a huge wave. Sorry for my drawing skills. So we have a huge wave, and I actually have blue. So let's make it a little bit blue. The blue ocean wave. Ooh. Blue. You have a big wave. And then you may have a small wave, and this is you. Look, this is you, and you think you're separate from the ocean. But in fact, you're one and whole with the ocean. So when you are worried about fitting in, about loneliness and not belonging, you cannot not belong. That's impossible. You cannot not fit in. That's impossible because you are literally in the fabric of existence itself, and you are the fabric of existence itself. So that's why loneliness is quite literally a big fat illusion. So it doesn't exist. Then, Danique, why do I experience all these feelings then? I must be crazy, right? Why do we experience loneliness, despair, fear, when all of it is an illusion? Why? Why? That's because, exactly, because you believe you are separate. That's the only thing in the human condition that bothers you. The only thing is that you believe that you are separate. That's all. That's it. You believe you are a separate entity, separate from others, separate from the world, separate from society, separate from your neighbor. But you are everything because you are quite literally interconnected, an integral part of the whole. Without you, as a particle, as a bunch of molecules bunched together as an energy meat suit entity, the world would fall apart because you cannot take away parts of the whole because it's always going to be whole. Like you When you cut a hologram into little pieces, the whole is contained within those little pieces. No matter how much you cut it, the macrocosm is inside the microcosm, always. This is, by the way, also a hermetic principle. You cannot separate yourself from creation, from a source, from anything. So it's actually quite an achievement that divinity made you forget that you are divinity. It's an achievement that the ego exists because it's pure illusion, it's resistance to the truth of who you are. And it's quite literally insane. You are insane for thinking that you are separate from nature, from anyone, and from anything. You are delusional, right? So it's the other way around. When those around you try to assert their separateness, the ego always has to assert their dominance, their separateness onto others, because in order to maintain the existence of the ego, you have to confirm your separateness and your differentness everywhere. Okay? And it is true that we are all unique specimens, creatures with unique abilities, unique talents. People are vastly different in their expressions, but that doesn't matter, they are different. So that's a paradox. There's always a paradox in consciousness. It's always a paradox. That's why it can look confusing, but the paradox is actually that everything is one whole thing, even if the opposite appears. So in this world, we see the opposite of the truth. So we experience limitation. We experience that we have to go eat, we have to go to the bathroom, we have to do all these things to maintain our body. And it is the exact opposite of who we truly are. So in order to find out who you truly are, you needed the illusion to contrast what you are. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be able to appreciate or have gnosis about what you truly are. You cannot know that you are divinity when you haven't experienced the opposite. So that's why we are in this realm, experiencing limitation, the opposite of divinity. We experience demonic things, actually. We experience the dark of the dark. We experience loss, grief, fear, all things that do not exist. So isn't that crazy that we can experience things that don't exist? Because that's our infinite imagination. You can imagine anything, and creation imagined itself as this. So this is what you created up to now. Just assess and look at it and wonder, wow, so this has been created now. Okay, how does my little point of view, my little meat suit handle this? And then you see the effect. Every single one of you, everyone, me, you, is going towards truth and love. There is nothing that goes towards the other side, even if it seems that way. So this is a world of illusions and mirrors. You get tricked by the illusion every day. You think there's a sun shining outside. When you step out, you're thinking you're a human. You have a role to play and you're important in this society. And we all keep playing, no matter what, because that's the game, right? Yeah. But when you know, you start to feel different. You start to experience everything differently, and you start to see everything as loops, cycles, patterns, rhythms, and it's all not you. Ultimately, the real you is just observing. It's that steady awareness behind everything that happens. That's divinity and that's you. That's the true you. That means that silent observer is, in fact, immortal, eternal, infinite, omnipresent, omniscient, pure divinity. And then you are awareness, being aware of itself. Then what? Then you go into daily life, into the illusion again. How do you interact with people? Well, just the same. But instead of identifying with the mind-body complex, the meat suit, the thoughts, the beliefs, the story, you move through life with a new expanded consciousness that it's all bullshit. And that makes everything lighter and more funny and less heavy, less dense, even though we have cycles and patterns and rhythms that really make you spiral into the illusion. And then you get out of it again, then you get into it again. Sometimes I spiral all the time. And then it doesn't matter, because when you get out of it, it's like it's never happened. Because then you're steady again in your certainty that you are pure power. And you created all of this. Not you as a meat suit, not you as the egoic entity, but you as the all. And everything happens perfectly, and it's a divine unfolding where everything is meant to happen exactly that way. And it doesn't matter if it happens in other ways, because you're divine anyway. No one can touch you. And then we can also expand and cherish the creation of form, because it's actually amazing that we can experience such a density of form in the third dimensional realm. So the appreciation goes up, gratitude goes up, you start to care way more about your physical body, which is also ironic because you aren't it. But why do you start to care more? It's because you know how temporary the physical human body is. So take care of your physical human body with all the routines and the rituals you have to, which align with your true essence, with what you think is right. So knowing thyself means that you start to take care more of the physical forms, because you know how fleeting this experience actually is. And we all know deep down that we will pass away out of this body into the next realm. But we stay stuck in the thought that this life is the only thing there is. And this experience is the only thing there is. And if you mess this experience up, you mess up everything. And there's no going back. Not realizing that it is quite impossible to be imperfect, to make mistakes. And, this is a funny thing. It keeps coming up. You try so hard to be perfect. You try so hard to do well. And the whole joke is that you cannot make any mistake, because you're not even the one doing all of this. You are already acting perfectly in the divine rhythm, the waves of the ocean. There is no such thing as mistakes or perfection. That's an artificial construct that's corrupting you. You think you have to fit in a box, but the box is fake. The box of mind control is actually the biggest illusion you can think of. Those are arbitrary rules, patterns, that make you say, okay, now I deserve to exist. What? Now I deserve to be fed and alive. So these boxes, these arbitrary standards, it can be beauty standards, it can be success standards, it can be how big your house has to be, or how fancy you have to be, or how many friends you have, how many cars, all the things you identify with, how intelligent you are, how spiritually aligned you are, how fashionable you are. All these things that you try to become perfect is actually you affirming that you are not good enough to the universe, which is demonic. The only thing that's really demonic, it's not, okay, you've ghosts, demons and all the things, but what's actually the most demonic thing in the universe is thinking that you are not good enough. That is pure demonic. That is pure evil. That's against life and everything that stands for truth. The most demonic thing is not what you see on TV, the Hollywood elites, whatever. The most demonic thing is how you speak to yourself on a daily basis. How you think about yourself, that you're not good enough, that you're not perfect enough. That's demonic. The rest is nothing compared to how demonic that shit is. Okay? The way you speak to yourself in existence, the way you keep yourself trapped in a box that doesn't even exist. How the artificial construct deceives you into you thinking you have to be this perfect thing. So you can be validated by people around you that do the same. And we're all in this delusion of fitting into the box, and we're not fitting into the box, then we're gonna start to be demonic. And that's where depression happens. You feeling not good enough, you feeling imperfect, you're feeling messy. And that's very painful. The reason that such a thing is so painful is because it is straight in contradiction with the truth and with love. It's debasement, it's self-hatred. And when people are in the box and they feel like they are not fitting into those silly rules that we made for each other, so we imprison each other, and if we don't fit in, we get rejected by society or the friend group. And then we feel, oh, you see, we do not deserve to exist. That's how the brain thinks in survival mode. When you are isolated from the group, you think you deserve death and punishment because they don't accept you. But no one can reject you if you know thyself. If you know, for real now, if you know that you are an integral, perfect part of creation, then there's no one and nothing in their mind-controlled state that can tell you otherwise. It's actually delusional. We have whole systems and societies playing in these little constricted boxes, not seeing the beauty and integrity of every single individual being. We are not cogs in a machine. We are a unique expression of the divine. Nothing less. And when you see it, yourself, talk down on yourself, saying negative things about yourself because deep down you feel like you do not deserve to exist. Deep down you feel like you don't deserve to eat or sleep or have health. And then you start to sabotage because you listen to that demonic voice that tells you, oh, just eat that donut. Just eat that toxic substance because you are not worthy to be alive anyway. And I know what that voice is, and I've seen that voice in all its grandeur. And I know that's the complete inversion of who we are as consciousness. And I know that in the second dimension, there's going to be more coming out about dimensions and my framework. Also, you can look at the scale of consciousness invented by Dr. Hawkins, but it has been talked about for many centuries in ancient texts already. So it's not really his, it's all of us. We don't own any informational property because we are one and we're just stepping into the field of information. So there's no ownership. That's also an illusion. So the ownership, the separation is just completely insane. Because we're all just molecules just playing together. This is just a playground. And I want to make your experience better by stop believing that you're not good enough, because you are perfect. You are absolutely perfect with your emotions, with your reactions, with your the way you throw tantrums. You are actually perfect, even if you think you make mistakes. Okay? And you know what's funny? When you stop believing that you are unworthy of existence itself, you start behaving in such a harmonious way. You start to choose love, and you only want to give love. So you actually start to align. That's why awareness and consciousness is the most divine golden gift you can give anyone. That's why this is important. It's everything. This is what's important. To know thyself, to know that everything is love, and all you see is contradictions of that love. And it's meant to be that way because the contrast shows you the proof that love is everything. Because who wants love? Who is in need of love? Every single one of you. You don't want the things, the conditions, the house. You just want to feel loved and worthy of existence unconditionally. That's what every single one of you wants. But you are stuck in a mind control box. And you think, okay, if I behave like this, if I become more successful, then I'll be loved. Then I will be okay. If I am perfect in my behavior, if I'm absolutely perfect, then I'll be loved. Then I will be safe. Then I will be okay. Then I won't be rejected by creation. Creation can never reject you. You can only reject yourself. And the people around you who are mind controlled as well can also reject you, but they're just in mind control as well. So it's not their fault. They're just all messed up. Okay? Everyone deserves existence. Everyone is worthy. And if everyone knew this, we would live in heaven. Okay? We would live in heaven. The harmonious place, the heaven you see in stories, that's already here. It's inside of you. So you realizing that you are worthy, that you are pure unconditional love, and that everything you see is just a mirror, and it's just an illusion, is the biggest achievement you can have as a human being. Okay? That's the true elite. That's the true royalty. True royalty is you knowing that you are divinity. That's the new royalty. That's the new elite in the new world, the new earth. Hi everyone. I'm here to share my experience in this human game, and what is very useful for anyone, for you to think about is that whenever you are experiencing shapes in this holographic illusion, don't forget, and this is the thing we will forget, don't forget that there's nothing outside of you. Without you, there is no dream. You are the dreamer dreaming the dream. You are the dream itself. So whenever you start looking outside in your experience, it feels so odd when you finally wake up to it, because when you realize that you are alone, not in a bad way, by the way, because being alone means being all one. That means you are all that is. Being in a state where you know that external projections are actually internal creations. It's a game changer, because that is the only true salvation from our mind, from the ego. What you all really want, and I spoke to so many of you personally, also through my observation of others, what I think is happening is that people are incarnated in this lifetime because they have certain materialistic desires that they want to meet. They want to achieve things in the external, to see, to just have an experience. And it's, in the higher perspective, it's just for the fun of it. However, what happened is, and you see this in society, and there's no society outside of me, so it's all me. So I'm very conscious of that talking right now. I see industries, billion-dollar, trillion-dollar industries that are banking on our sense of incompleteness. So the game in this realm is to transcend incompleteness. Why do you overconsume? Why? I actually looked up the numbers of the industries that are the highest industry. The highest paying, the highest profitable industries have to do with insurance, technology. And through those mediums, we see the egoic human condition. We see the human condition which there's insecurity, uncertainty of who we truly are. We don't know. The world of amnesia. This is a game of amnesia. So what's happening if you have been progressing on your spiritual path, spiritual journey, if you woke up? The reason why you woke up is probably because of some crisis that happened in your life, probably of some deep sense of emptiness that you experienced, even after achieving a bunch of goals. And you wanting to get rid of suffering is essentially what every human wants, is to get rid of suffering. Because those loops that we are stuck in are projected into work loops, into habits we do consistently. That is a reflection of the reincarnation loop that we are in. And these loops are to be transcended, ending the trance of the ego. So the ego, the human condition, is simply a fallen consciousness, a fallen awareness. And in this fallen awareness, we forgot that we are the infinite field of awareness, which is pure consciousness itself, which is pure potential, pure energy. Pure energy in which you can create anything you imagine. Imagination means magi, so a nation of magicians. So magic is real. All those things are real. Placebo effect is real. Epigenetics is real. It's all mind. The first Hermetic principle is also everything is mind. That is the cause. So if you know that you are the cause of everything, the ultimate cause, and it's not you as the meat suit, no, it's you in the body or experiencing the body. It's non-local consciousness. You are non-local. In one experience I had, I kind of felt like I was here, non-locally, in the middle of my head for some reason. And everything else is a VR game, a huge VR game. Highly interactive, a lot of impulses everywhere, a lot to experience. Even sitting on a chair, you have so many impulses. You have the pressure of the chair, you have the air you breathe, you have the sensations of your fingertips, you have your eyes, hearing. There's so much to take in already, even if you do nothing. So if you go to a high impulse activity, or you go to a music festival, then there's impulses everywhere. And this becomes addictive towards egoic consciousness, because those impulses feed our emptiness. So the emptiness, the human condition that everybody has this, otherwise you wouldn't be here. I have it too. That's why I know about this now. Everyone on a soul deep level feels this emptiness inside of them. Like there's something missing, right? And then we try to cosmetically solve it by creating security for ourselves, insurance companies, by creating relationships with others, community-based activities, eating. The action of eating is also, in the game, our sense of incompleteness. So you have half-truths in this world. So you have breatharians, they say you can live on life force and prana. However, you cannot be here in this physical dense body. It's too dense to live on prana here, because we haven't solved the human condition. If you have solved the human condition of incompleteness, you are out of here. That's why those enlightened ascended masters ascend. They're not here because they graduated. If you're still here, you have that empty hole still. And in those less dense realms of realities, you don't have food or things like that. You don't have the negativity, the heaviness. That's non-existent there. So if you achieve something in this material realm, you have a bigger home, you have a new relationship, you have a new company, you have a promotion at your work, you have a bunch of children, you have a bunch of status, friends. What happens inside, okay? There's two things that are happening. One, the ego gets fed, validated finally, and emptiness is a little bit less. So you have a glimpse of fulfillment very, very quickly. But it is very fleeting, so it goes away again. What the human does is then works harder and harder and harder to maintain that level of validation. The biggest fear of a human being is to become irrelevant after having a bunch of validation. Which brings me to plastic surgery business. Any type of business that helps you become complete again. So if people get older, they are afraid of aging. The fear of aging is a huge fear because the ego knows that this one life in this specific meat suit is temporary. And what happens is, because of that innate fear, you try to do whatever it takes to stop aging. And this is the same mechanism. The core issue is you don't feel whole and complete because you are identified with the meat suit and the mind and emotions of this whole experience. The reason why Egyptians and ancient civilizations were obsessed with afterlife is because they subconsciously knew that this isn't the real life. This is like a shadow version of eternal life. So they were talking about heaven and everything. But what the ego does, the ego weaponizes spiritual truths, so it becomes corrupted. So spiritual knowledge is always corrupted by the ego and used for the ego. So what happens is the ego thinks, oh, so in the afterlife I can get everything I want, all my materialistic desires. So they started painting things on the wall. And that's in stark contrast with reality, with their true life, because there was disease, poverty. In the ancient times, it was far from a heaven. Because in this realm, this is not the heavenly realm. If you are in the consciousness of ego, then this hell is the hell realm, the realm of death. So we are in the realm of death when we see all these companies being manifested because the humans have forgotten that they are already whole and complete. So all the businesses profit from it, but why wouldn't they? Because there's a huge market for it. If there was no egoic consciousness, those industries wouldn't exist. So, on the one hand, I think when we graduate, we disappear from this realm, but we won't even notice it. On the other hand, it's so subtle and unnoticeable that you start to gradually phase out of this reality. So that means in your external world, you can't interact with people. You just start to go away from people that you've known. The world becomes very quiet. It's like everyone just disappears. And that's a bit terrifying for me because I've been told that this will happen. And my ego is terrified of that because my ego has some incompleteness left. They say, oh, but wouldn't that be lonely, you know? The thing is, do you want to be free, or do you want to keep playing the egoic game? If you opt out of all of this, it means you are completely done. So you won't come back here. You won't. And you not coming back here means the density will be lighter. So it doesn't feel heavy anymore. You detox all of the egoic consciousness out of you. You purged the illusions. And then there's the unknown. And is the unknown, to who is the unknown scary? To the ego. Things become increasingly malleable, unknown, and not solid anymore. And to other egos, those which are reflections of yourself, they will start to reject you because you've escaped all of the pendulums. You won't participate, but you will participate a little bit because this material world has been so addictive. That's actually the reason why you came back here in the first place. You've descended into material limitation, into this game because you were curious about what would you like to feel disconnected from the source of who you are. And here you have it, this whole creation. So now we created a world where beings eat each other for sustenance, including human beings. This is not a divine realm. This is a shadow of the divine realm. But we know this internally. That's why we're so confused. That's why religions were created as well. Think, okay, why are we in this animalistic realm? Why do cruel things happen? Why is it a zero-sum game here? The thing is, it's not, because you created it all, and code can never be destroyed nor created. So nothing can be lost, because we're an infinite field of energy, and the infinite cannot be taken from or gained in any way. It's already complete. So this core assumption is that's what all spirituality, all enlightenment is about. It's just the knowing that, oh wait, it was just a game. I already am everything. I already have everything. And then you go from there. And whatever you achieve, you know this. You know that whenever you get a new phone or something, you'll get used to it. Everything normalizes. So in order to get those ego boosts, you need more, and more extreme, more. It's never enough for the ego. And I want you to see that it's never enough. There's always something lacking. You have a decision to make. Do you keep on playing and you keep on creating more things? And do you enjoy that? Or do you think, okay, wait, can I opt out of this? Yes, you can. You opt out of this by knowing thyself, by knowing who you are beyond this experience and graduating. But most egos are really not ready for this because of the amount of addiction in this plane is insane. The amount of addiction. We have addiction to thoughts as well. We have addiction to habits, addiction to all kinds of things. And the only reason is because we want, every person that is addicted to something, they just want the relief of the knowing that everything is okay, peace. Stop the struggle, stop the pain. What struggle? What pain? The pain is created by ego. That's it. The suffering is created by the mind that takes over and tells you you are not enough. The pain goes away when you go into the heart-based living, and know that you are whole and complete. Healing. You value yourself on every level. You can also value your human. I had someone telling me, a client of mine, you're like Tamagotchis and you take care of your human. I thought that was cute. All disordered thinking is the mind trying to solve the problem of ego, of separation. But you have to stop solving the problem because there's no problem to solve. And that's the tricky thing about the ego. It gets you to figure things out, to struggle, to solve something. While the whole problem was created by nothing itself. Internally. This entity, it's not even an entity, it's just nothingness, it's just a black hole. This black hole tells you you're not enough, and then you start to need things externally, which disempowers you, instead of being a source, a sunshine. And it's literally so insane because if you look at the ego straight at it, it is nothing. It is nothing. And that is what everyone is serving. Almost everyone is serving the ego on a daily basis. Manifested in chasing experiences, chasing an end goal, chasing things outside. They want to add more to themselves. Add more. For what? For who? Who are you serving? Who are you serving by creating your hot summer body? Your ego, because you have a quiet hope that you will stop hating yourself in the mirror. That's why you want your hot summer body. Who are you feeding? And when you achieve that goal, and you've also done a bunch of harmful stuff to get there, then you come to the horrible conclusion, oh no, I still feel the same way. Let me try more. More fixing, more problem solving, more, never enough. And the thing is, external people who are in a process like this, they see from an external point of view, they are like your helpers. They see from an external viewpoint, oh, but I thought you were already enough to me. You are already enough, and that can be harmful for you. And you are already enough. And then the person in ego says, oh, you're just jealous because I'm ascending in my value. And then imagine you have a whole society working like that, and then everyone is crazy. And the ones that are not ascended in their goal maxing, whatever endeavor you as ego hyper focus on, the thing is, the ego doesn't care which thing you hyper focus on. As long as you have something to hyper focus on for the ego, it's good for the ego. Because it can fix something. So you can create an eating disorder. That's something for the ego to hyperfixate on. You can create an addiction to alcohol. That's something to hyperfixate on. You can hyperfixate on hoarding stuff and resources. That's for most people, that's a favorite one. You can hyperfixate on focusing on others and gossiping. That's also a huge ego boost. There are a lot of things you can pick and choose from. If you hyperfixate on overworking, also ego boost. Ego, whatever you focus on, it will be good. It will find something. If you were stranded in a forest and the ego is present, so that empty hole inside of you is present, you will start to count sticks or something very randomly and hyperfocus on sticks. This is what obsessive-compulsive disorder also does. The ego hyperfixates on things that don't even matter, on certain numbers or patterns, because this is the human condition. So no one is better than another because we're all in the same boat. We are all in the same consciousness here. This whole reality with people you interact with, we are all the same. We are all, in our own way, trying to fill that emptiness inside. But some have seen through the game and say, oh wait, this is not real. We're already whole and complete. Everyone's crazy, including myself. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing to solve, nothing to fix. There's no problem. Because if you notice that in companies, they create a problem, then you react and then they offer the solution. The same is happening with the ego inside of you. You create a problem that didn't exist before. You are a complete human being, a little baby creator. Then a problem comes into your mind, planted. You are inadequate. Then you react by trying to solve it, and then the ego comes, oh, what if you work out more? What if you work more? What if you perform more? What if you get more external validation? What if you get more likes? What if you get more things? Oh, that doesn't work. Let me get more for you. What if you become better than others at this? And the ego never stops because you still give the ego a job and you have the decision, because you are the creator, to look at the ego right in its black face the void. You look straight at the fear because the ego is fear. There's nothing to solve, and when you start preparing for fear, the ego has you, because then you start to go into the program of constantly trying to prepare yourself to be safe. And there's nothing safe about that, because you are spiraling, you are choosing your master is fear. And then you're stuck in fear loops. Every single day, every single action you do is based in fear. And fear is false evidence appearing real. So we see a world outside and we think, because we have 5 senses and we sense it, that's evidence that it is real. But how much can we perceive of the electromagnetic spectrum? A very tiny fraction. We cannot even see what's really out there. We're living in our own head. This is just a bubble of our reality. And then we create a whole collective. There's no collective, there's no society, there's just you experiencing forms now. And then you create logic, language, teachings, consequences, and then we are all in this mass delusion of there being something out there. But if you figure out on your own, if you observe on your own what the truth is, it is in direct experience. There's a table here. I can touch the table. I can sense the shape of a table. I can sense hunger in my stomach. And then when I eat something, I can sense it being alleviated. We are consumers and eaters in this realm. We stop consuming when we are ascended. We aren't ready to stop consuming if we're still here. Eventually your body will dissolve. You will not occupy this space anymore, and then who knows where you will go. Where do you go when you are asleep? There's just a time skip. You didn't see anything. Nothing exists. It was just a giant pause. You die every night when you go to sleep. And why aren't you afraid to sleep every night? It's the same. But we create all these stories and these thoughts because we believe in stories and consequences. There are just picture frames, one after another. That's how malleable this infinite reality is. And it's so addictive and so strong, the illusion, that we play in it every single day. We adhere to the rules. We do A, B, C to get an outcome, and it works. But you are not the one making it work. Your consciousness is the one that makes things work. And you just believe there's a progression in which you create things. No, it's already there. You don't have to do anything to make creation happen. Did you control how you were born? How you just existed? Did you control how your bones grew for years and years? How your brain develops? No. No one controls anything. Do you control how the sun comes up? No. There's no control here. There's only awakening. And you knowing that something controls everything into the minute details. Every particle, every single structure is governed by formless, nameless, what is it? And you are not separate from that because you are inside of that source as a body. So your body is inside of that. We're not solving.
I'm going to answer a question I got about how to target syntax when you have a student who has issues with semantics, word retrieval, and all kinds of different syntactic structures. So the synopsis of the question is that there is a student who has a lot of needs.
We found our search quite challenging.
But it's like, and then you're still feeling like, and you don't know why. Okay, there's something that's been transferred here from ex-lovers. This will not resonate for everyone. There's something that was transferred from an ex-lover. King of Cups with Seven of Swords. That's what it is. That's what it is, you guys. It's an ex. It's someone that you were with romantically that literally fell over and transferred something onto you spiritually. And it's like you've been like learning more and more ever since this happened. It's almost like this sent you into the spiritual awakening. There could have been a very bad breakup that sent you into a spiritual awakening. Please let me know if that is for you, because I'm feeling that. I'm feeling like there was a huge breakup here, and it was so bad. It triggered you so fucking bad that it triggered the spiritual awakening, okay? King of Cups, psychic as fuck. There has been a spiritual awakening because of all the fuckery you have been through. Okay? Seven of Wands. You've had to learn how to defend yourself from this. You've had to learn how to protect yourself from people that were not just emotionally manipulating you, but this goes deeper than that. This reason why they were Cups. The reason why is because there was more spirits. I've been feeling this from the get-go. That's why it's on the deck like that. There was lower spirits. There was been transferred to you after this sacred energy exchange that you had with them, okay? And someone here has been fighting them off after that. I feel like if this is not a sacred energy exchange, SEX, if this is not that, this could be transferred from someone that you were around. Okay, there's someone that you were around that was emotionally manipulating you. They had lower spirits attached to them, and you've been trying to fight them off ever since. And it's happened. Chariot, you're moving on. There's been an awakening here. And that was the whole point, is what God is saying. That was the whole point. This was all on purpose. It may seem like this fluke, but it's not. This was all divinely planned. Divinely planned. The Empress came out in the reverse with the Hierophant. This was divinely planned by God. It was divinely orchestrated. For some of you, this could have been a mother figure. Okay, that's going to be specific for someone. It doesn't have to be for everybody. Like I said, we're talking about an ex-lover. Now we're talking about a mother figure. This could be anybody. Okay, it doesn't have to be just a lover. The mom's coming out now. Okay, so this could be a lover, a mother figure that had really emotionally manipulated you, and the reason why is because there were lower spirits attached to them.